Hey fam, I'm Ryan Milton from Team Flex. Today we're going to be breaking down NPC Nationals, NPC Junior USA, in other words, and look at some pro card winners in the wellness division, as well as some others in their class who did not win that pro card. Give you all a better idea of what's playing out across these stages right now. Wellness, if you are one of those athletes that want to go to nationals, try to get a pro card, trying to figure out the wellness division to get yourself to the top. Well, that's what this video is going to be about today. And this is what I do on this channel all the freaking time. So if you're new here, hit subscribe, hang out. And if you're a repeat viewer, give me a thumbs up, drop me a comment, help me with hit that algorithm. All right, let's get down to business. So again, NPC Junior USA, and we're looking at wellness winner, pro card winner, overall winner, Madison in class A right here. Okay. So she won not only her class, won that pro card, she won the overall. So great example of where, this criteria is going to be going. Over here in second in her class was Alexandra. And over here in third in her class was Joanna. So what we're going to look here is at basically what is winning on a pro stage right now in wellness division. And as we know, wellness is our lower body dominant division. So all the athletes that we're going to see are going to have some pretty dense lower bodies. The quads, they're going to be there. The glutes, they're going to be there. This is the only asymmetrical women's division. So for those of you viewers out here that are like, I don't know if I want to do bikini or fit model or wellness, if you want an asymmetrical look where your lower body is clearly dominant, this is the division for you. But that doesn't mean we ignore the upper body, right? You'll see all these athletes still do have good shoulder shape and size overall. So let's break this down a bit and talk about why that pro card ended up going here to Madison versus some of these others in this lineup, right? So if we look at Madison, right, first thing we're going to see is she's clearly a wellness competitor. Right, you can see glutes from the front. You see a lot of quad density, a lot of fullness here, a lot of shape overall to the rest of her physique as well. Very narrow waist effect, good sweeping action from the lats here, and then also, some development up top in the shoulders, no doubt, but pretty on par with what you want to see in this division. Okay, so as we can tell, shape tends to always win these divisions. Especially at nationals. When you're trying to get a pro card, the more shape you got, the better it seems to be. So if you're taking notes, write that one down. Keep building your shape. She has, in this lineup, probably the best shape out of the group. You can tell, right? You can just kind of see a little bit more of that tapered look going on, a little bit more of that fullness down in that lower body. And, what's interesting, she doesn't have overdone conditioning, right? Sometimes at nationals, you see very lean athletes coming in. She's actually, probably the softest of this group. So it's very, very interesting to consider that, right? This is something I've been saying with wellness conditioning this year. This season, we're about halfway through the season at this point. So I've been saying it a while. But wellness has kind of gone back to its roots where judges, they want that fullness, they want that shape, and they want a little bit of that softer look right now. It's not the over shred, not the over, hard look. But let's take a look here at Madison's physique a bit more. So she is definitely fuller in the shoulders, a little bit more of that shoulder forward look, but that's okay because lower body is where you can really tell, she still accentuates a wellness competitor. I will also say a lot of times in the wellness front pose, just being straight up, things can look very symmetrical depending how they're posing, right? You might look at this and say, okay, she doesn't look overly dominant too much here, but I bet you when we get to the back pose, it's where the full story is, right? So conditioning wise, soft lines in the abs, the oblique, a little bit of separation here in the glutes, a little bit into the quads, not much, and up into the shoulders and the arms. Pretty on par condition, really good shape, a really dramatic wellness look from the front here. And, fullness, shape, that's what wellness is about right now. And not only, did she win that pro card, she won overall. Looking over at Alexandra here, we see a lot of similarities, obviously, because these placings are points apart, right? It's first and second, so they're very close. It could be, ultra close. It could be down to a point. We don't really know. But Alexandra here, what we can see, and I'll zoom in even. I should have zoomed in earlier. I forgot I can zoom on this thing. Still getting used to this setup. So what we can see here, she is a bit leaner. That's what comes out right away. I can see, you know, just a little bit more depletion in the midsection, some rib lines, a little bit more of the abs. Not bad at all. Her condition is good, but it is a tad leaner. So that is interesting to note, you know, as something maybe direction-wise. Also for her lower body, not as dense, right? So we still have really good fullness, really good shape from the glutes and the quads, but not as much fullness is going on over here. So this is a more dramatic filled out look over here than it is over here. So that is another thing, you know, maybe an indicator. She also does have a little bit even less fullness in the shoulders, right? So not as much coming through there. So for her, maybe a little bit leaner, a little bit more depleted, right, of a look versus a filled out, super shapely look, right? It's a little bit more up and down versus a very dramatic taper. So again, these are little things, you know, a lot of times I say it on this channel all the time. People quote me in my DMs on Instagram. We don't know until we get to the back, folks. Let's see what we get. All right, so third place over here, Joanna. And what we got with her, a lot of similarities, some differences. So she's got a lot more of a capping effect to her delts. You can just tell, right? A lot more fullness and development there, but also very, you know, a lean look in the upper body. So maybe a little bit tad too aggressive for the wellness look, I would say. Also, lower body wise, probably the least development out of their lineup here so far. So still has really great shape. It's all coming together well, but we can kind of see, you know, that lower body just not as full, not as much density down there, right? Good tapering at the waist, conditioning. You know, she's pretty lean, not overly done. It's on par. You know, I think her main thing is realistically probably she doesn't have enough muscle mass. If we look at the three here, it's kind of where we see most muscle and fullness, second most muscle and fullness, third most muscle and fullness, right? So very, you know, good indicators. Again, judges are hammering shape in the wellness division right now. That's what they're looking for. It's what they want to see. All right, let's go to the back. This is what we always talk about. So instantly from the back, you see a lot of similarities, a lot of clear differences. Let's go one by one. Let's go with Madison first. She's our overall winner and class winner here, pro card winner. So for her, it's a clearly very lower body dominant wellness look, right? We get a big quad sweep from the back. That's what I always tell wellness competitors when I'm coaching them, hey, we got to work on getting that. You got to have those quads from the back and you got to have glutes from the front. If you don't got that, you know, you're probably not at the right muscularity yet. You need to keep building. She's definitely got very, you know, big quad sweeps from the back there. Good hamstring development that matches a solid tie in here. That's a slight separation, not overdone, not too much, not too lean. Also, glute shape seems to be very filled out, very on par, and upper glute is rounded and full as it should be. When you look at wellness competitors, I always say you should see, first thing you should see should be that lower body, right? If you go into a back, you know, pose and you see, oh, a lot of shoulders, arms, everything, missed the mark, right? So for her, again, very lower body dominant look, very wellness look, no doubt. Upper body wise, we don't see too much because the hair's covering, but we can just get a little bit of that shoulder shape where it should be in a good taper in. Again, we're not really focused on that upper body here. So very complete look, not overly lean, not overly, you know, dense, anything like that. It's all there. Now we look at Alexandra. Okay, this is again where shape is winning the battle. You know, she's got a very complete physique, good sweeps from the quads, good overall tie-in, could be probably a little bit deeper, a little bit more glute development overall, maybe a little more upper glute. Hamstrings there though, you know, upper body wise, everything's here. Just not as much shape and not as much of a filled out look coming from her physique. And I think that's pretty easy for anyone to see. You're looking at this side by side, right? Not as much from the shoulders, not as much shape, not as much taper. That means that's going to happen, right? All this is kind of just coming together, showcase like that. So probably, again, a little bit more fullness, a little bit more shape. Pay attention to that, wellness competitors, because that's what's winning on these stages, especially if you're trying to get a pro card. All right, Joanna over here. Again, all of a good wellness look overall, which is going to be common. None of these athletes are going to look like a different division when they're at nationals. It just doesn't happen. You know, you had to get here for a reason. You had to qualify, and you're going to generally have the look. Some clear differences on her physique, though. Good quad sweeps, definitely leaner in the hamstrings, leaner in the tie-in, leaner in the quad even. Really good glute shape overall. Upper glute is there, densities, everything. You know, what I'm seeing from her again, though, not as much mass. She kind of brought a leaner look in, probably because she didn't have as much fullness as much mass. You can see that looking side by side. This is a lot of difference in muscle development in these quads and these hamstrings. Also softer, you know, maybe she just came a little bit softer, honestly. Could have been, you know, pulling up a placing here a little higher. But realistically, that's, again, where judges continue to go. They're going away from that super shredded, wellnessy, you know, wellness. I shouldn't even say can't even talk. Mass monster look that we had seen some years back. Now it's going away. All right, as always, I say, do my free trial, folks. Come on. If you've been watching this channel, you like the stuff we're talking about, and you're learning this, I'll teach you way more. Go over here, teamfflex.com, grab your phone. 7-day trial. Type it in, train with me free. 7 days. No credit card info. You don't get charged. None of that happens. It's a great free experience. I hear nothing but positive feedback. I actually, some people come through, they do it, they do the trial, and then I'll hear from 5-6 months later, they're like, wow, I applied those things. I won my show. Thank you, coach. I'm like, great. Good for you. That's why I do it. That's why I do these videos, folks. I'm trying to help you. All right. Let's look. Here we go again. Wellness winners class here, class B. All right. And we are looking at winner of this class and pro card winner Vanessa here with second place Tiara and then third Erin. Okay. So a couple of these athletes here in this group we want to look at. Again, a pro card winner and some that did not. Looking at just the lineup instantly, I mean, you might, if you've been watching this channel a while, you might know where I'm about to go, but let's go. All right. So let's take a look. So Vanessa here, very classic wellness shape. As we can see, lower body, takes the show right out the gate. What we should see is exactly that. So good quad fullness, good glute fullness, glutes from the front, good quad development, all of that. And then, upper body becomes an afterthought. We see fullness, we see all that. We see a good taper in, solid midsection. Pretty complete look for, a wellness competitor. A little bit on the leaner side, that's all right, though. Not a big deal. It's not overdone anywhere. Only spot I'm really seeing that is right here in these abs. That's okay. That happens and doesn't always hurt you. It actually, sometimes it helps you. So it just depends. Every physique is different. That's why it's a really good idea to have a coach, somebody that knows this can look at that and say, oh, yeah, that ab line actually helps you. Some athletes, it'll hurt you, okay? So she's got a very complete look. It's definitely lower body dominant. A lot of times in the front pose, like I'm saying, we kind of got to get to the back, though, to see the full story. So Tiara here, overall great physique. You can see good quad development, good glutes from the front here, midsection taper, shoulder size, everything's really good. Definitely softer look, though, right? We can definitely see that. Not as much going on in the midsection here. A little bit of a softer condition overall. Still good. Also doesn't have as much fullness in that lower body, right? So not as much development in the quads and the glutes. Probably filling those out a bit would be the key here. That's really what I see on her and her physique there. Now, Erin over here. What we can see, good overall tapers in, a little bit in the shoulders. Not a lot of that development going on here lower body-wise compared. So we look side by side here, these two. That is a big difference in amount of muscle in the lower body. So for her, just adding more size to them quads, them glutes, the hamstrings, all of that, just bringing it up. And that's a lot of times, I'll tell you, as a coach that works with wellness competitors a lot, that is a lot of times what your feedback's going to be. As you're figuring out your route, you're trying to get a pro card. I mean, even some of the most dominant wellness lower bodies you see, I'll put them on stage, and they'll be like, yeah, a little bit more glutes, a little bit more quad. That's just where it goes. It's wellness division. Never ends. Bodybuilding never ends. That's the fun of it, right? It always continues. So for her, that's what I would say based on that. Good condition, good shape up top. Just needs more muscle mass down low. And that's what you see a lot in this division, like I said, okay? Let's take a look from the back, though. The full story is always told here. All right, so Vanessa, what we can see, overall good shape in the shoulders, tapers into the waist well, locks that in. Lower body-wise, very standout lower body in this lineup. We can see a good quad sweep, really solid separation between the hamstrings and the glutes here, that tie-in, overall fullness. She could honestly use a little bit more fullness in the glutes and the upper glute, but hey, you know what? That's before the pro leagues now. Congratulations on that. But either way, it looks great. Overall, ties in well. Everything is there. It's a very complete look. And again, what's the first thing you saw, folks? Lower body. Wellness. Okay, Tiara over here. Great overall muscle density in her physique, right? You can see just good quad development, good hamstrings. Glute shape is really locked in, all there. I think, honestly, for her, just maybe a tad tighter, and this would have been a slam dunker because, like, over here, that's really the difference. They have comparable muscularity. She's just coming in just a little bit softer. Wouldn't be surprised if that was, honestly, maybe the only feedback that she had gotten. Sometimes I hear from these athletes. So if you're watching, please always share your feedback with me. I love hearing that stuff, and it helps the audience. But yeah, maybe just a little tighter, and boom, there it is. That could have been that. That could have been it right there. Second place, very close. Great job. Keep in mind, by the way, audience, everybody watching, I am never, I'm just talking competitors' physiques and giving some of my ideas, my feedback, my highlights to help you all. All these athletes are great representations of the sport, and I appreciate the opportunity to use their photos to make videos for everybody else out here. So just keep that in mind. All right, Erin over here. So Erin, great overall physique, good taper in the shoulders, tapers in well here. Lower body-wise, muscle structures all here, glute shape, quad shape, tie-in, hamstrings. Not as much muscle density. That's the main thing, right? Not as much muscle density. She's actually probably right on par with condition. Just needs bigger, more muscle look, and that will pull that all through better. But she really locks it in. Great job. Great physique. These are the differences. So what did we learn today, folks? What did we learn? We learned, again, wellness is all about shape. It's all about that size. It's all about that symmetry and that proportion right now, which is asymmetrical. So a very lower body dominant look, not too lean, not too, underdone, not too overdone. In fact, we didn't see anybody that was overdone. We saw a lot of, athletes that need more muscle. So again, what you really learned today is if you want to be a wellness competitor, you probably need to keep building more muscle. So keep building. I see a lot of wellness competitors rushing themselves back to stage. They're like, I got to get back to stage. No, most of the time you got to build, right? And if you need help with that build, go right here, okay? Go right here. I'll help you do it. I'll show you how to train. I'll show you how to do it. I'll give you feedback on your physique, all right? teamfflex.com/7-day trial. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of that call outs, those directions for Wellness Division. Coach Rye is out.